Sawadee Pee Mai and welcome to another episode here for the Funkit Pod. Episode 1 in the new Thai year. The new Thai New Year. No, in the new Thai year. So this podcast comes to you from Bangkok, Thailand, as you might know if you've watched/listened to a few previous episodes. And here in Thailand right now, it's the Thai New Year celebrations. Well, not that many celebrations. I'm not drunk. Not that many celebrations due to COVID. Usually, the Thai New Year, it's like a 3-day festival. Usually, you get the whole week off though, and it's like a week of just craziness. At least 3 full days of Songkran. That's the name of the Thai New Year, Songkran festival. It's all about splashing water. So that comes from the old traditions, like. In the new year, the children would return to the parents' homes and then would pay respects to the parents by pouring a little bit of water over the hands of the parents, kind of like cleaning the hands. It's just a show of respect, right? This then somehow developed into getting water guns and shooting water at each other in like the touristy areas of the country. Not only the touristy areas, in like all areas of the country. Splashing water, driving around with pickup trucks, having lots of water on the back and just splashing everybody, and also like having them putting baby powder in the faces, also like with some traditional background. But that's all not allowed, at least not officially. The biggest tourist road in Bangkok, as some of you might know, is the Khao San Road. Khao San Road usually sees like huge water fights, hasn't for the past 2 years, and also this year, the water fights are not allowed. They tried, the police came, confiscated the water guns, made people like throw up or pour out the water. They had like those huge buckets ready. But now they just party without the water. So there's no regulations in regards to how many people can go to Khao San Road, or like if you can party or not, because people just walk through it. It's a very short road. It's not that long, and like lots of bar, like one bar next to the other. And now there's just music blasting out of the bars, and people just are on the streets with alcohol partying. And what you're gonna do, right? In other parts of the country, I read and I've seen some videos that the police isn't enforcing that prohibition on water fights as much. So people are just partying and so on. Yeah, let's see. Then let's wait for Monday and see like what the official COVID numbers will be on Monday or the week moving forward. It's outdoors, so let's hope it's not that bad, but it's really in close proximity, of course, most of those events. So I don't want to get too much into the COVID topic. Well, actually, now it's too late. I mentioned already, so I'm going to get flagged on YouTube and on Spotify for COVID already. So whatever, let's dive into it. So the COVID cases in Thailand are spiking, just like in many other places around the world right now. We also saw like a record number of daily deaths, more than 100, I believe, for a few days, like each day. But I know that's a hard but to make, because like I just talked about the death, but it somehow doesn't really feel that real anymore. I'm not sure how it is in other countries, but if you go out here, yes, everybody's wearing masks. It's also a good thing, because the air in Bangkok has been just terrible those past few days. Like yesterday and today is better, but before it was ridiculous. If you looked at like the air visual AQI or whatever it's called. It was always in the red, like Bangkok and Chiang Mai, another city in Thailand, were like in the top 10 of the worst polluted cities in the world for a few days. So that's why I was wearing a mask when I went outside too. But back to the COVID issue, right? It doesn't feel like people are that scared of it anymore, and I'm not judging about it, because I feel the same, to be quite honest. I still try to be reasonable, I guess. So I'm not a party person anyway, so I don't go to like indoor parties or whatnot. And I'm not sharing like different bottles of beer with people, because I don't drink. But no virtual signaling here, by the way. But just saying, like, so I'm not sharing stuff, and I don't drink from the same cup as 1,000 other people. But other than that, I mean, I do go to the gym. I train. I do my Thai boxing, Muay Thai training, which is of course very close contact, do sparring. So yeah, it doesn't feel that I don't know. I don't want to say it doesn't feel that bad anymore, even though the numbers would suggest otherwise. But then again, of course, like the new variant, not as bad or as deathly as the last one, even so now we see more daily deaths. It's a tough thing. Like the human psyche, right, is also a weird thing, because we've now been living with it for 3 years now. So it's like, okay, it's now we're used to it now, right? I think starting June, if I'm not mistaken, but please do check that. I didn't prepare it for now, it just popped to my mind. I think starting June, COVID is not a pandemic anymore in Thailand. It will be declared an endemic, which then will make travel to and from Thailand probably also easier again, which I really can't wait for, because then finally my family can come here again rather easily. I can go back too, of course, and return to Thailand easier. So that should be something to look forward to. But of course, let's hope it's all in like a reasonable setting. Yes. Right now, they're also discussing whether or not they should give monetary incentives to older people who haven't been vaccinated yet here in Thailand, because it's mostly older people who are now in the hospitals apparently and who are dying. So that's been discussed in the media. So let's see what we will get out of this. Okay, that was the Thailand part. So Songkran, so happy New Year in Pasar Thai, in Thai language. It's Sawadee Pee Mai. Sawadee is like your greeting formula. It's like Sawadee Krap means hi, hello, how's it going? Things like this. Yeah, and then Pee Mai is just the new year. P, year, Mai, new. So Sawadee Pee Mai is Happy New Year, basically, in Thai language. So that's what you would say for the past 2 days and today, the day of recording. So it's like the 3 days of Songkran here in Thailand. So now also the date will change to the year 2560 something. That's the Thai year that we're in right now. Nevertheless, of course, you can always use the year 2022 because everything is it anglicized? Everything is romanicized, whatever we call it. So that's also no problem, of course. Okay. So that's been the Thailand part of the episode that I actually planned for way later down the road, but now we talked about it already. So let's move on from the Thailand part. If I'm looking at my notes, is that all that I have about Thailand? Yes, two things. So during the New Year break, it's usually like a week of like 3 official holidays, but usually you get a week off, like from your work, people traveling back home and so on. And then the 7 deadly days of Songkran, that's when people always die on the roads, because in Thailand, just drinking and driving is unfortunately totally normal. I mean, it's not allowed, but it just happens all the time. And so during Songkran, when everybody parties and drinks and then thinks they can still drive, that's when most people die. Like lots and lots, like thousands, I'm not exaggerating, of people die during Songkran every day. Like thousands of people every day on the roads during Songkran. So I hope everybody's safe. Don't drink and drive. All those things. And I don't want to sound like a boomer, but I mean, it's been ridiculous. Ever since I moved to Thailand, those 7 deadly days of Songkran have been a thing, and it never changes. Like every year is the same. It's just ridiculous. Seriously. People, grow up. Hell. There was the one thing. The second thing, now I forgot because I got so mad about the 7 deadly days of Songkran. So yeah, never mind. If it pops back into my head, let me look at my notes over here. No, that's... Well, that's then it, I guess, what I want to talk about Thailand. Fair enough. So let's move on from Thailand, because it's not only a Thailand podcast here, obviously. It's the best podcast in the world, obviously. And there's way more things that we want to talk about. For example, and if you follow the podcast, you know that I'm a big wrestling fan, or I used to be a big wrestling fan. And I found a love. Hey, Ed Sheeran. I found the love for wrestling again. So I was a fan when I was a kid, right? And I found my love again, like 10, 11 years ago. So when CM Punk was a big deal in WWE, because he made it just feel more real. And then as of late, and I stopped watching again. And so now then AEW kind of like reignited that fire again. Now Tony Khan is becoming a bit too cheesy, a bit too much WWE style, to be honest. So I haven't watched Dynamite or Rampage in like 2 weeks now, I think. I do follow it still on social media, so I try to keep up with like who's doing what and so on. WWE too, of course, but it's a bit rough. And of course, I did watch WrestleMania 38, and which I found awesome at parts. Even though it was 2 days, quite a lot, but it was kind of cool. Like a few parts of it at least. My highlights, unfortunately, Logan Paul and The Miz was pretty awesome. Like Logan Paul was really good. And Pat McAfee. Pat McAfee was just amazing. Like first how he actually had a match with Austin Theory. Also props to Austin Theory for selling like crazy, of course. Like mad props to Austin Theory for putting Pat McAfee over. But Pat McAfee busted out some moves. My lord. That sunset flip from the turnbuckle and then that jump onto the top of the burn turnbuckle still got me excited. It's crazy. So Pat McAfee, if I would have more hair, I would take my hat off right now. So Pat McAfee, and then pinned by Vince McMahon, of course, assaulted and then stunned by Stone Cold. Like, respect. Pat McAfee living everybody's dream there. So that was pretty cool. Other than that, I mean, the matches were all decent. The Roman Reigns thing, I mean, of course, Roman Reigns wins, right? Take a sip every time Roman Reigns wins. For the audio listeners, I just took a sip of water, obviously. But like, I didn't see many good stories coming out of it. I had it in the WrestleMania recap already that we had. I didn't see many great stories coming out of there. Like what's next? So we're gonna see Austin Theory versus Pat McAfee again at some point, probably. We're gonna see The Miz versus Logan Paul at some point, probably. But do we have to wait another year for that now, or will Logan Paul like be a superstar now, or what's gonna happen there? Then Brock Lesnar, Roman Reigns. That's it. Will we see Cody Rhodes? Cody Rhodes in WWE, by the way. Doing great so far. I'm just not really into it, and I'm wondering like why is he such a big star now, and they didn't treat him like this before, because the matches are still the same. Will Cody Rhodes challenge Roman Reigns? It doesn't feel right somehow. So yeah, lots of questions there, and no really intriguing stuff. Now Cody Rhodes is gonna rematch Seth Rollins. Like why? Just because he's such a good sportsman. Then on the AEW side, yeah, so William Regal's there, the Combat Sports Club something with William Regal, Jon Moxley, Bryan Danielson, and now also Wheeler Yuta. The Wheeler Yuta story was kind of decent, so he's kind of like fighting his way into it and getting like accepted by William Regal. That was kind of fun to follow. I'm still waiting for a decent debut of the Danhausen, of course. It's a bit boring Hausen right now. The Danhausen is not wrestling Hausen, but I think he's still injured, if I'm not mistaken. So let's hope that Danhausen will be healthy Hausen rather soon, and then we can see him wrestling Hausen in AEW Hausen. Other than that, also like it just lost a little bit of steam, or maybe that's also just me, because right now, coming back to living in Thailand, it's just ridiculously hot every day, so you're just tired all the time. Maybe that's also part of it, but it lost a bit of steam because it feels a little bit, and I don't even want to say it feels a little bit more like WWE by now. Also with the debut last night. It's a bit like WWE style, and I don't want that. Get back to AEW style. Thank you, Tony. Tony Khan announced another big announcement for tonight. Rampage, I believe. What did he announce for Dynamite? He announces so many big announcements. It's too many big announcements now, Tony Khan. It's too much. But Tony Khan, I love you, and if you want to sponsor this podcast, please do. Also, if you want to take over a franchise in Thailand, I can totally like point into the right direction, and you just have to make me CEO of the franchise, and then we're even, no problem. All right, so that's my quick take on wrestling. I'll try to get more into it again, because I really like as you know, if you follow this podcast, I like the storytelling, obviously. I'm a big fan of storytelling, if it makes sense. So I will try to analyze the stories a bit more again, probably starting still with AEW and then trying to follow a few stories that are intriguing in WWE. If I find any, if you find intriguing stories in WWE, please do let me know. Okay. Also, by the way, what was that? Braun Breaker and Dolph Ziggler? It didn't make much sense. And anyways, let's move on. I'm getting just mad right now. I mean, Triple H retiring. Of course, Triple H is retired. What? Can I get a hell yeah? What? The Undertaker saying he could maybe do one more match. What? For the audio listeners, I just rested my head on a microphone because thinking about those things. Yeah. But hey, maybe Tommaso Ciampa will make his main roster debut soon. Ooh, that would be something cool. Okay, so looking at my notes right now, I did the WWE talk, the WrestleMania 38 talk, AEW a little bit. I talked about Thailand already. Oh yeah, that's the one thing that I meant. I forgot about Thailand. How are we going to cut this in the highlights? Back to the... The worst thing to visit in Thailand are expat forums on Facebook. I left all of them like years ago, and now I'm selling a few furniture pieces because I'm about to move out here. Just don't want to take all of it with me. So I posted them to like those like secondhand Bangkok and sell your stuff. So I posted a few things there just to make moving easier. And oh my lord, like, and it's always expats, it's always foreigners commenting on the posts, and like just insulting you, just trying to make fun of you, trying to be video. I don't know what it is. Like, it's like I'm for example, I'm selling like a plant, a really expensive plant that we bought here. It's been with us for like now 2 years or so. It looks really cool. Don't ask me what the name is because I'm not the plant person, and we bought like a really, it's quite big and it needed like a really big pot. So we bought like a pretty expensive pot for it. Like don't ask me how I was convinced into buying like an expensive pot for a plant. So the pot, and it's in Thai baht, so whatever, but you still can see the number. So the pot alone cost like 2,000 baht, for example. So the plant cost like also 2,500 baht or something when we bought it. Exactly crazy. So now I'm selling the whole package. I asked for like 3,000 baht, for example. Or 2,500, I'm not sure, whatever it is. So that's actually the price of the pot almost, right? And now just lots of experts like, do you mean 300 baht? You don't even know what you're selling. Like, if you don't like it, why do you have to text me about it? Why do you have to like comment about it? And those are just the PG examples. They're like way more insulting examples on a post about a plant. And this is just very common. So it's not just because it's like my post. I just feel it again because now I posted in it, because usually I'm not in those groups. But now just looking in the groups because I'm posting there, I'm seeing that like all the time on every post, no matter what anyone is asking, selling, looking for, whatever. It's always like things like this. Like, if you're not happy, does it make you more happy if you try to be mean or insult others? Or be mean to others? Get a life, people. People in those expat forums, get a life. What's wrong with you? So annoying, ridiculous, hate it. Okay, so that was the last thing I wanted to add in regards to Thailand, because maybe let me know if it's in other countries the same. Maybe it's just people being a-holes. But like those expat forums are the worst. It's all those unhappy expats, like then go back, go somewhere else, leave us alone. Ridiculous. Let me take a sip of water. All right, so enough anger. Wash the anger down with some H2O. No liquid death, by the way, because they don't sponsor this podcast. Let's move on. Looking at notes again. Oh yeah, I want to talk about a few things in the media, of course, because usually I do like some media breakdowns here, right? So let's just make this part of the show. Two things that stood out this week. One, I have to give some props to John Oliver again. Doesn't happen that often these days, but the last episode of Last Week Tonight with John Oliver, talked about an important topic, which I do appreciate. They talked about data brokers. And we all know that we get tracked. And I'm not going to regurgitate, is that the right word, what John Oliver said. Just go to Last Week Tonight on YouTube, watch the 20-minute John Oliver video. That was really good about data brokers. Also, what they did in the end with the data, what they actually actively did was pretty smart, pretty good. But it very well explains that it's not just the tracking, it's not just the personalized ads that you see like here and there. It's like what else they can do with the data they have about you and like how they can profile you. So, and how easy it is to get access to the data and what that could mean for you. So, yeah, watch it. It's really, it's easy to understand, I think. You have to think along, but they make it kind of easy to understand the data broker issue, if I want to call it like that. And yeah, it just highlights very well that it's not just, I don't have anything to hide, they can have my data. No, are you sure? It's not really about hiding things. It's about what they know about you. They could know that you're pregnant, even though your parents, for example, don't know yet, you didn't tell them, or that you have like some health condition based on what you're searching for online. You haven't told anyone, for example, but they know that already. So it's really crazy things, and this show, those 20 minutes, explains quite well, and hopefully raise enough awareness, or not enough, but hopefully raise some awareness by an audience that usually doesn't think that much about it. I always try to talk about this with my students. I have like some classes on data-driven marketing, for example, but then in data-driven marketing, I, of course, well, from a marketing point of view, you're like, hey, that's awesome, let's use all the data. But also then I try to highlight the ethical point of view, the things that you could do, but you maybe shouldn't. So I do like what John Oliver did here quite a lot. And I haven't been watching his show in quite a while, but this episode now I watched because the topic is interesting. And they did a very good job on highlighting the issue of data brokers and how easy it is to just get all the data that you want. So please do check that out. It's only 20 minutes and it's worth a watch. Especially I watch it until the end because the last 3 minutes add a little bit of a twist to it where you go like, oh, wow. So yeah, that's pretty cool. If you want to hear more about this topic and you want to learn more about this topic, yeah, Google, but there's also an account on Twitter at Mikko, who's like a data research / security expert, who I've been following him. Oh my god, for years now, and it's very informative. He doesn't even know me, so I'm not getting anything from recommending him. But yeah, so that's just very, very helpful in this regard as well. So I suggest you to check this out. And the second big thing in the media bubble, that's actually not only in the media bubble, the second big thing this week that happened this week is, of course, Elon Musk, right? Elon Musk first buying 9.2% of Twitter, then think about being on the board of Twitter, then not being able to get on the board of Twitter, and now trying to overtake Twitter by just buying it, offering $42 billion, something $50-something per share. And then he wants to take it private, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. So Elon just trying to buy Twitter, and he says it's because of free speech. He doesn't like what Twitter does with in regards to free speech as of late. So he wants to save free speech. That's what he's saying. So, pardon me. So he's saying if he buys Twitter, then if he's in charge, then everybody can just say what they want, basically, because free speech, right? Question is now, and that divides, of course, now, Twitter, the Twitter sphere, society. Is it a good thing? A, do you believe him? So I'm not sure where I'm sitting on this. So first of all, is Twitter perfect right now? Definitely not. It is censoring some things, they don't censor other things. And it's clear to see what they censor, what they don't censor. Will it be better if Elon Musk runs Twitter? Are we sure that everybody will be allowed on it? B, should everybody be allowed on it? If someone says something terrible and then they just hire or just have lots of bots liking it, for example, doesn't this give them then more exposure, even though they shouldn't have this exposure? Questions. But that's always the question with free speech, social media. It's also the same question you have like with a town square, right? Someone stands on a box and just shouts out. Just on Twitter, more people could see it and react to it. Now, for me, personally, I'm just not sure if Elon Musk really is that savior, our shining white knight, because I don't think he is. If he is, awesome. I'm happy to be wrong. I just don't think anyone with that much power is. There's always a power play behind any decision that people in such a position make, I believe. And I wouldn't be surprised if, like, in a year or two from now, Elon Musk just goes all super villain. Nevertheless, it's very interesting. It's interesting to see what's going to happen. What's with the shareholders of Twitter? If it's not going to be allowed, like, will people riot? Will people be mad at it? But then you hear that lots of Twitter employees, they don't want to work for Elon Musk. Based, again, I guess, on his political views, being affiliated with Joe Rogan and whatnot. So this is a very, very interesting situation that we're in right now here. Also, that someone that's not from a media space directly could have such a huge stake in the media. I don't know where I'm sitting here. So you're seeing me. If you're watching, if you're just listening, you listen to me trying to make up my mind right now. And on my notes, I only have like Elon, Twitter, because I don't really know what to think about it, to be honest. Is Twitter perfect right now? Definitely not. Definitely not perfect. Way too biased when it comes to censorship. I think we can all agree on that. But then should it be completely open for everybody? That's another question. Should everybody be allowed to say whatever they want? Do you have just the same rules apply for everybody? That probably would be the best thing to do, right? But then what are those rules? Who enforces those rules? And why does Elon have so much time to think about Twitter, and why isn't he not focused on all the other 7,000 companies that he has? And why am I still not verified? Oh, best comment about this I saw on Twitter was by Ben Askren, former UFC fighter, former One Championship champion, Bellator champion. And he said, when Elon Musk buys Twitter, will Lex Fridman finally get verified? Because Lex Fridman and Elon Musk are like a bit closer. It seems they did some podcasts together. And Lex Fridman is still not verified on Twitter. So me neither, by the way, Twitter. Me neither. Like, who do I need to bribe? Do I need to buy a Tesla to get verified? What's happening? Will you get a blue badge when you buy a Tesla? That's also those things, right? What's he gonna do with the Twitter data that they get? Will they then just examine with the Tesla data and the SpaceX and the Starlink and Neuralink and whatever the boring company knows, like whatever they know. And it's just all meshed together. And so maybe they are building the first actual Skynet. Maybe Elon Musk actually is building Skynet right now. Who's going to save us from Elon Musk? And is Lex Fridman already a robot? Those are all questions that we need to find answers for. Oh my God. Lex Fridman. I really would want to talk to this guy. Lex Fridman, if you want to come on like a super small podcast out of Bangkok, that would be amazing. And my actual job is I am a university professor, Lex Fridman, so if this helps somewhat. I don't look like one right now. I understand maybe I should also do a podcast in like all suit and stuff like this and find a more professional setting, but I just like this because you cannot see it, and if you're just listening, you obviously can see it, but my cat's just always sleeping right next to me when I sit here. So that's just why I always sit like this. Because Spooky is just sleeping right next to me, and that keeps me calm. Anyways, Lex Fridman, come on my podcast. Do I have anything else that's in the media? Oh yeah, 2 more things. I mentioned a lot. Flagrant 2, best podcast in the world right now. Not just content-wise. I disagree with lots of things they're saying. Actually, no, not with lots of things, but some things that are saying. Like Flagrant 2 podcast, Andrew Schultz, Akash Singh, and then like the other guys in the studio. I'd say 80% I'm laughing with them. 70% I agree on the things they're saying. 100% I appreciate the work they're putting in and how they're making things work, and the clips that they're editing out and that they're publishing to hype the shows and so on. So yeah, but right now I think the best podcast in the game, best entertainment in the game. I think there wasn't a single show in a long that I can remember where I haven't laughed and where I haven't been able to appreciate the setups, the editing, then afterwards, so the clips that come out of it, or like the dedication to costumes and things like this. So yeah, Flagrant 2. Also, to tie in with like one of the upcoming topics I have, of course, Flagrant 2 now also like with some cool guests. The first podcast or the first show that made Alex Volkanovski, the current UFC featherweight champion, look kind of cool. Because usually he's not. So that was respect. I'm on this in a second. So yeah, big props to, I mean, as if the biggest comedy podcast on the world would need that, but big props to Flagrant 2, not only for the comedy, but for also the dedication to the setup / then the editing and the consistency. So that's really inspirational, I believe. So that's really well done. I like that. And there's another clip every day from Flagrant 2 until they have a new show, and then still another out of this show, then another clip every day until then the new show comes. So that's very, very well done, very structured, coherent. Yeah, that makes sense. I like it. I do miss the turn your phone sideways for a second though. Andrew Schultz, I know you're listening to this fantastically big podcast, huge podcast out of Bangkok. Where's the turn your phone real quick thing? That was kind of fun, but now of course others are doing it, so you're not doing it anymore. Gotta find something new, huh? Throw your phone out of the window real quick. Let me show you something. Throw your phone out of the window real quick. I'm sorry. I'm drinking water. That's it. So that's from one more thing in the media. If you follow this podcast, which 5 of you are, you might remember that over a few times I mentioned Russell Brand, and that he's doing like a good job in like referencing certain media theories. If you might know, if you watched or listened before that, I'm like in media studies, communication studies, and so on. So Russell Brand and his conspiracy podcast. It's hot today. I'm sorry. And his podcast. Conspiracy podcast. So he does a good job on mentioning different media theories. Like he mentions Guy Debord, for example, who talks about postmodernism and all those things. He mentioned Jean Baudrillard, who talks about like hyper reality, meaning that what we see in the media isn't real anymore. As you know, like it's a fake reality, so to speak, but it becomes our real reality because we believe what we see. So that's in a nutshell what Baudrillard is talking about. And so I appreciate that Russell Brand reads about those things, tries to understand those theories, which he does, which is good. Nevertheless, is he losing it? The first thing are the titles of the videos. Now, if someone uses titles like all caps all the time, this is insane. You're like, all right, so now we are like on the clickbaity end of things already, right? Because it's not insane. Not everything is insane and crazy. But other programs do the too, and that bothers me with all the programs. Breaking Point, it was Joe Rogan's favorite news show with Crystal and Saga. They do the same shit. And I hate it for it because it makes it look cheap. If you go like, this is insane or breaking or like this goes nuts or crazy, and it's all in all caps, I'm not taking it serious. I know that you're doing this because you want the clicks. So you're not even clicking unless the topic is really interesting to me. I think that's ridiculous, it's stupid, and it's an insult to the audience that you think you have to be like all caps just to get attention. So don't insult me as the audience. I'm not clicking on it. Where was I going? Oh, so that's the titles for Russell Brand videos. So that's already offending me. I'm watching way less of it just because of that. But then when I watch it, because the thumbnail shows like, I know Mark Zuckerberg, I'm like, what is this with Mark Zuckerberg now? Then the content, becomes more and more like guru / preacher like with almost every video. And like I liked him like a half a year ago when it was more analytical. Now it's a little bit more preachy. And I wonder why it's the case. Is it just because now the following has doubled and he feels like he has to do that and tell the people what to do and what to think? I'm not sure, right? Maybe is it just a feeling? Is it just because I've watched so many of his videos that I got overexposed to it? Maybe so. It's a sincere question. Do let me know what you think. I just think that Russell Brand has become a bit more preachy. Is it a thing? And then also the titles, of course. And then they're always selling his shows like every single time. It's like, so you only want me to click on your clickbaity title to sell your shows. So let me know what you think. Like if I'm wrong, if it's just like my clouded perception or something, I'm happy to hear it. So sincere question. Also, Russell Brand, come on the podcast. You must like it in Thailand, Russell Brand. Meditation, Buddhism. I'm not even making fun of it. Like it's like, I mean, you can have some great meditation retreats and so on here in Thailand. So Russell Brand, if you want to come around, if you want to come by, I can suggest a few retreat centers, meditation centers, meditation retreats and so on. So and we have a podcast there. Let's do it. So yeah, let me know what you think. Maybe it's again my clouded perception. Please do shout out. I'm happy to hear about that. What you guys think? Okay, that was what in the media. Then since we talked about COVID already, very quickly COVID. So we discussed COVID in Thailand. Now let's also discuss COVID in China. I'm just laughing because I tried the Trump-China thing, right? By the way, I happened to watch, and I don't even know why it got recommended on my YouTube front page, because I'm not subscribing to the show. I got recommended like a Stephen Colbert video, so I'm like, why is it recommending? So what's in there? So I clicked on it to see like why. Stupid, of course, because now the algorithm thinks I liked it. And they're not mentioning Trump's name. Just the former president, and then they always T, and then they just censor the Trump. Huh? That seems passive aggressive. No wonder why in the US like it's left against right. That's just some stupid shit. Like, why would you do it? Why don't you take the higher road? Okay, but then so back to China. So yeah, the lockdown in Shanghai was, of course, that looked pretty crazy, with the drones telling people to stay inside and people killing themselves apparently, and yelling and screaming and so on. So you've seen the news, right? That seemed pretty crazy. I do have friends, because again I live here in Bangkok. I do have quite a few Chinese friends that are from that area. More Taiwanese friends actually. I do have a few mainland Chinese friends. And they kind of agreed with it, that it's really kind of like tense, but they also said it's not like 1984 style. So they said like the truth lies somewhere in between. So yeah, you were, no, not anymore, right? But you were kind of confined to your living quarters, and you had to follow like strictish rules, but it's not like that there was like an armed guard in front of your building all the time. So it's somewhere in between. I'm also not sure how openly they really want to talk about everything, though, to be fair. I only know them from playing sports together. So yeah, we're sports friends, not like friends. And so I didn't want to ask too much, because you don't want to feel the people you play sports with uncomfortable when you talk about politics and so on. In Germany, where I'm from, no more mask mandates as far as I'm aware, but businesses can still enforce their own rules. My mom works as a salesperson in our hometown, and she said, so officially there's no mask mandate right now, but in their shop, the owner decided that they still want to enforce the mask mandate. However, if lots of people just go to the shop and come in and don't wear the mask, you're going to kick them out and then not make any money. Questions. All right, so let's see where this goes. Now the football stadiums, soccer stadiums for the Americans are back open to full capacity in Germany. So it looks very normal again. So let's see where this goes. Fingers crossed that the COVID numbers will not shoot through the roof again. While my cat just woke up. Hey, Spooky, did you sleep well? Okay, then a few more things. So one, let's quickly. It's a great podcast today with all the misspellings. Again, it's very hot. Quickly, MMA content, because as you know, I'm the MMA person. First, I just had, oh god, that's why I'm moving back and forth on my chair. If you're watching the video, if not, you might hear some, if you're only an audio listener, that's because I'm still hurt from my Muay Thai fight. I won, thank you for asking, but I'm hurt. Like everything hurts. I'm just so sore, but still worth it, of course. But oh my god, am I sore? Putting like ice packs everywhere for like a few days, and now it's been like 3 or 4 days after. And now I'm just trying to, when I go to bed, I try to have like some warm patches, like heat patches on different parts of my body, just so the pain goes away and I can sleep, because I'm not sleeping well ever since, because I'm just so hurt. Every time I move in the bed, it hurts. Everything, my neck, my back. You finished that. Totally worth it though. So let's talk a little bit about MMA. So first, I'm recording this on a Friday morning here in Thailand, Bangkok. So Friday night in the US, it's a Bellator event, the biggest Bellator event in Bellator history. And I didn't know about it until this morning when I walked my cat and I was scrolling through Instagram, and the Schmo, I also want you on my podcast. Seriously, Schmo, come here. And I want you for you, Schmo, not for Helen. I want you for you. So the Schmo, come on my podcast. See, that would be cool. I need some sunglasses too. It's crazy sunny here in Thailand. The Schmo should come to Thailand and we're gonna train together. Gonna go to AKA Thailand or something. They are better. Let's go to Tiger Muay Thai. There's a new one, Bang Tao Muay Thai. They just opened this week. Looks amazing. The Schmo, let's go there. We go there together. I'll film your stuff and you just go do my podcast once. That would be awesome. So I saw that there's a Bellator event on the Schmo's Instagram when AJ McKee was weighing in. And then I did see AJ McKee doing some media this week, so I should have jumped to the conclusion that there's a Bellator event, but Bellator is just Bellator media. So my media background, my digital marketing background, Bellator, you guys suck at this. You guys suck at marketing. How can a company that apparently has a shitload of money, because you do give out lots of money in like purses and stuff, how can you be so bad at marketing? It's ridiculous. Even one championship is better. PFL is better. Even Bare Knuckle is hyping up their events. Triller is doing a better job than Bellator hyping up events. It's ridiculous. So Bellator, if you need someone to run your digital marketing, I'm not doing it. Are you crazy? Some of my digital marketing students can probably do a better job than what you're doing right now. So hit me up if you need someone. The Schmo, you here, let's go train AKA Thailand, Bang Tao Muay Thai. If you want to go to Tiger, we can also go to Tiger Muay Thai, hang out with Piotr Jan, Valentina Shevchenko if they're there. Let's do it. So yeah, Bellator event, HMAK, Pitbull 2. HMAK is like 500 feet taller. I just calculated it based on like Americans not knowing the metric system. It looks like he's like 5 to 10 centimeters taller than Pitbull. So yeah, he's just gonna throw Pitbull around, I guess, and then gonna jump to a guillotine just like last time. I don't see it going any different unless Pitbull lands like a Hail Mary right in the opening, like an overhand right, flying knee, some kind of shit. Otherwise, I don't see how it will go any way different than the first fight. I don't see it going any different. And AJ McKee being like, I won $1 million for every time I fight. No one wants to see you. Like, I mean, he wins in the cage, but he loses in the media. Every time he opens his mouth, I'm sorry. And yes, he can kick my ass. Of course he can. But like, just keep winning. Go to the UFC. And make more money, but like this, like, I won $1 million every time I fight. Oh, it's so relatable. Shut up, seriously. Get a real job. AJ McKee taking L's in the media. Maybe he should just stop talking. I'm not sure if that is better though. Now both of them can kick my ass. But again, I don't see this going anywhere any way different. I think co-main event isn't it Corey Anderson versus Vadim Nemkov? I think so, right? Corey Anderson also looks way bigger than Nemkov, but I mean, Nemkov was toughing it out last time around. Corey Anderson, I don't know what to make of Corey Anderson anymore. Like, he seemed to be like on a good run-ish in the UFC, but then he just choked again. I don't know if he's gonna now pull it off eventually in Bellator. Let's see. I mean, Vadim Nemkov is legitimately tough, right? So let's see. I got Nemkov, but if Corey Anderson pulls it off, congratulations, Corey Anderson. What else do we have? Oh yeah, sure. We had also one championship not too long ago. And here's the thing with one championship, right? So I'm in Asia. I'm in Bangkok, as I mentioned there 1,000 times in this podcast. And of course, I'm very interested in one championship. I know probably 60% of the fighters on the roster. It also changes all the time. Like they add like new like people all the time. I don't think people outside of Asia know those people. I don't think people in Asia who aren't hardcore MMA fans know those people. And I'm not sure how one tries to make people care, because they had the 1X card, which was then A, kind of cool, but B, also kind of stupid, because it's the first time ever one had a pay-per-view. So you're used to watching it for free on YouTube, because every week it's free on YouTube. Every event is free on YouTube. And then you're like, it's not free on YouTube. Where is it? What? Huh? So I don't think many people bought a pay-per-view, to be honest. Maybe in the US, but here, because they use it, but here, no. And then, if you don't have fights like Mighty Mouse, like Demetrius Johnson, and so on, like household names that resonate with like a larger, maybe even US audience there, how are you going to connect to the audience is the question. And I love, like, for example, the Muay Thai main events, like Rod Tang versus John Haggerty, for example, would be like, or was a banger, will be another banger. But do you get the audience in the US? There is the question. So I'm just wondering what people think about it. So if you in the audience right now, you watched one, or you didn't watch one, you're like, what, one championship, huh? So what do you like about it? What you don't like about it? How can they do it better? Because I really struggle to see how they want to make an impact, like especially like more in the Western Hemisphere, Europe and the US. I'm not sure how they can do that, how they will be able to do that. So that's just my quick one take. More than with the next one event, and we're going to go into more detail again, of course. And lastly, well, yeah, sure, UFC. Yeah, the UFC happening this weekend. We will see Belal Muhammad versus Vicente Luque. I got Luque by KO. See, so Belal is 10% funny on Twitter or on Instagram, 50% cringe. But I mean, you gotta respect the path, of course, because he's clearly not the most gifted fighter, but he claws his way up there, which is fine. So I mean, respect. Totally, it's just not very fan friendly, and his ego kind of outgrew his achievements. Like when he says like he's the only one who can beat Khamzat by hacking him to death. I'm not sure if you win a hacking match with Khamzat, to be honest. But let's see what Belal does against Vicente Luque, if he can avoid Vicente Luque's hammers and his jiu-jitsu, and just if he can wrestle and ground and pound him. Good, yeah. Then let's see it. As I said earlier, Volkanovski on flagrant 2 pot was the best thing that happened to Volkanovski for his public persona, I believe, because now he's actually kind of cool, kind of funny. So yeah, good job also with the Izzy quick appearance in there, cameo was kind of funny. So good job there. That raised Volkanovski's stock by a lot, in my opinion. So well done there. Henry Cejudo back in the testing pool. King of cringe, never breaks kayfabe. So good on Cejudo. I think the one thing that he said that like people underestimate his will. I think that's true. I don't know if he can beat Volkanovski. He's the one person that's smaller than Volkanovski. That's what Volkanovski said. So I'm not sure, but I do respect his determination. So yeah, King of cringe. Yeah, it's annoying. Yeah, but I do respect the determination of him. If he actually tries now, Good. Try or die trying, right? Cool. Not cool, of course, that Korean zombie now being all sad and maybe even retiring. No, TKC, don't do it. We need you. I know you're getting older, but come on, hang in there. You can take out a few more guys before you go. I want to see Zombie winning one more time at least before you retire. TKC, come on, one more time. Nick Diaz coming back? No, please no. According to his manager, right? So, well, then Burns Kamsat, of course. I mean, both fantastic fight, obviously. Kamsat Chimaev. Yeah, congratulations. But I'm, of course, as so many others, very, very impressed by Burns, and also then Burns on social media still being like a gentleman and being like, hey, Kamsat, I took the fight. I offered you the fight where nobody else wanted it. So it would be nice if you would give me the same courtesy within your next 3 fights. Give me a rematch. And so that's very gentlemanly. And then they said he wants 5 rounds. Khamzat said, I take your soul in 5 rounds, brother. So it seems like we're going to see them again sometime soon, which is fine because it was a fantastic fight. And I'm very happy that also Burns got his win bonus, even though he didn't win on the scorecards, which is cool. Last 2 things. NBA playoffs are starting. Yay! I will talk a little bit about the NBA. I've been following it because I talk about a lot I talk a lot about MMA, kickboxing, Muay Thai, and so on. But I've been like the first sport that ever captivated me was basketball. I actually played some street ball tournaments back in the day. I was well known for my threes that I was making. I was the Steph Curry of Bavaria. A few things, because also I'm very impressed with a few players, how they use the media. I'm a bit sad right now that Luka is injured, potentially a bit more seriously injured, which is really sad because it's Luka magic. So yeah, we will look into not just like recapping the games, because I mean there are way better people to do that. Again, I hope you all watch JJ Redick talking about the games and so on, because I think he breaks it down very well. But we will look a little bit more into like the media coverage of it, and also how then players and / organizations use the media to paint their narrative and to engage fans and so on. So that's something that we will look into while the playoffs are running wild, brother. Maybe we even have a chance to look a little bit in how NBA on TNT is doing things, because of course I enjoy this also quite a lot, and I do hope that Sir Charles reconsiders his retirement, because we need you guys. We need the other NBA on TNT guys can hold a candle to the OGs. So please, OGs, stick around for a few more years. You can do it. Okay, but that's coming then with the next episode, looking into like what's happening in the playoffs in regards to like media utilization. And last but not least, and I'm moving over, and if you don't watch, you see it here. That's one of my 2 super cats that I hold in the camera right now. Hey, Spooky, you tired? Oh, I'm sorry. Say hi to the people. Spooky is looking to the camera right now. For those listening, Spooky is my white cat. Follow on Instagram at Spooky Snooze, one word. The white cat is called Spooky. The black one is called Snooze. There are reasons for those names. Maybe I elaborated at some point. So cat content always works in the internet, right? I actually had a purpose, like why I just held Spooky in the camera and why I talk about cats in this case. I've never been a real cat person until I had cats. Now I'm obviously a cat slave / cat dad. But I do want to like burst some bubbles and some myths moving forward. And so I think I'm going to make this cat content a thing here, because like it also was my misconception before. I saw like those lame cats just sitting at home, or like those like old ladies with the cats and so on. But Spooky Snooze, the other one, the black one, who's just not in the room here right now, she's always climbing on like top of the air condition at the ceiling and just climbing into the air. It's a very old air condition, so it's like open on the back. She climbs into that air condition when the air conditioner is off and just sleeps in there because she has like a nice view out the window from the air condition. And she just looks at the trees and the squirrels and everything that you can see from sitting in the air condition. So that's where Snooze is right now. So the misconception was just like those lame cats, lame, not doing anything, old ladies and so on. But now having them, so we go on walks every day on leashes, right? So I have a leash for each of them. I just take them down and then we just walk around. They do listen to me, to you, if you treat them right. I have friends who do the same thing. We take them out to pet-friendly cafes. Yesterday we went to a shopping mall that was pet-friendly. We just took them there, just chill with them. They sit on my shoulder. They're not doing anything until I let them down from the shoulder. I'm like, okay, let's go. And then they jump around and then they walk around. Take them on holiday trips. Took them swimming. They swim in the ocean. If it's not too many waves, if the waves are too loud, or too wild, then they don't like it, of course. But if it's like calm sea, take them on a surfboard, for example. The black one, Snooze, like Spooky sits on the surfboard. Snooze, the black one, jumps from the surfboard and swims in the water for a little bit. And then she's like, oh, okay, now I'm wet. I want to go out again. So what I'm saying is, I'm very surprised like how active our cats are. And now following other people and exchanging thoughts with other people on like how the cats behave and so on, I realized I'm not the only one, luckily, because it's cool. And so, yeah, I just want to use this platform to connect to like other active cat people, hashtag cat active, I know, and be just maybe bursting some cat myth here and just sharing some things that are happening with our cats here. And yeah, I don't know, maybe have some exchanges there in this regard to see what cats can do, what cats like, what cats don't like, and so on. Why? Because again, cat content always works on the internet. Okay, that's it for this Funkit episode. Let me look at my notes for one more time. Check them all. Fantastic. So that's it for this special Songkran Thai New Year episode of the Funkit Pod. As always, thanks for being with me here on this trip, on this journey. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe to this thing. That really means a lot. But vote, rate this podcast. It would be cool. Not vote, rate. Go vote whenever there's an election. Rate this podcast because then more people can find it. Then we can have like bigger cat discussions, for example. Until then, enjoy your weekend. Enjoy your week whenever you're listening to this podcast. Stay safe. Take care. And I'll see and talk to you soon. Sawadee Pee Mai.